This is the Global Broadcasting Service, serving remote outposts since 1928.
Hi, everyone. Welcome aboard the Walt Disney World Express monorail.
Caramba, we have something really big for you today.
Welcome, foolish mortals.
Now then, hang on to them hats and glasses, because this here's the wildest ride in the wilderness.
This is the DBC Pod with Phil Schoen and Jason Dodge. Hey everybody, welcome to this week's pod. This is the show for the week of November 13th, 2023. And is it a jolly night for recording, Phil? Because it was not a Jollywood Nights a few days ago. At least that's what the internet is saying.
Yes, not for anyone in attendance, it seems like, for the opening night of Jollywood Nights this past Friday at Hollywood Studios.
Yeah, I mean, this is kind of just what's going on. For anybody that's not in the know, at Jollywood Nights is a party ticket for Hollywood Studios. So you can get in a little bit later, but it's just like the Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party. This was the first, I guess, what was the first night? It was
the 11th, so it was 2 nights ago from today.
Saturday night.
Friday night.
Okay, I'm losing track of this. So Friday night, and it's basically kind of advertised as an adults thing, but then that got swept back from like the Today Show one day, and then it's encouraged people to kind of dress up.
Yeah.
There was a Jingle Ball, Jingle Bam show that kind of brought back, but less pyro. There was some stage shows. There's the Tip Top Club by Tower of Terror on the exit side, and just reading it, some Muppet interactions, just reading it, we were all excited about this. We thought this was a great idea. It's kind of like a little tiny, Epcot festival type of thing. And Phil, that was not the reality.
Yes.
So what happened?
Yeah. So, and I think I got my days correct. It was the 11th, which was Saturday. So you were right on the day. So I just wanted to confirm that.
Thank you.
But yeah, so basically, as Jason said, it starts after the park closes. It's from 8:30 to 12:30, so it's only 4 hours long. And I don't know what happened with the logistics, but it seemed like there were way too many people that all wanted to do the same thing, and a lot of the things that people were excited about, like the Tower of Terror Tip Top Club Lounge, they were doing special things in the Brown Derby that was going to be all decked out and be this cool place to hang out. And everything kind of under-delivered for the most part.
Significantly.
It didn't help that there were a lot of logistic challenges, some technical issues. So I know like people that were already in the park trying to pick up their credentials, it was like a 30-minute line. And the cast members there were saying, like, we didn't anticipate so many people being in the park. And
let's set the stage here for each one of these things, because I think it's comical, right? Yeah. So again, if you've never been to a party, if you're there before it starts, annual pass, have a day ticket, whatever it might be, you can go somewhere, get your wristband, and not have to leave the park. So it's convenient. You're there, you get your thing, whatever. Sometimes, for example, a Very Merry Christmas Party, you still get your bracelet before you go in anyway. So anyway, APs or anybody else was still in the park the first night. You're going to have a lot of vloggers. You're going to have a lot of media. You're going to have all these people kind of checking things out. So it's going to be a little bit extra crowded at some of the new stuff that people want to see. So maybe we could talk about that later. Anyway, there's one long one. Apparently there's like one person handing it out to everybody that's already in the park. Of course, all the vloggers are going to get there early, and the normal guests are going to become filtering into the front. So like you said, everybody coming in from the outside was getting in promptly, and it got to the point where everyone was like, leave the park and come back in and go it that way. How do you not have enough people handing out bracelets?
It should be a relatively easy thing. And then, like you said, everyone wants to do all these new things. So everybody...
Wait.
Oh, sorry.
You forgot one more thing. I thought you were going to say it. That's why I threw it back to you. Okay. The lanyards. You're supposed to have a lanyard and a bracelet, but the people coming in the park didn't know that, and then they got into the park.
Yeah, they were only given their bracelet, and then I guess for some of the activities, the cast members checking it were saying, "I need to see your lanyard," and they're like, "They didn't give us a lanyard; they only gave us a bracelet." So I don't know why you would need both anyway, and then why some people didn't get them. Like I said, a lot of people were in line to get into the Tip Top Club. Some of the people I was watching, they were in line for 45 minutes to get in. Keep in mind, it's a 4-hour event. And there was like the band was playing out front and it seemed nice or whatever. And they get into this like closed off area kind of near the exit to the Tower of Terror. the band hadn't come in yet, so there's nothing going on in there. There's a couple high top tables, like a sign, and then just looks like a bar cart with a couple cast members, not even in themed outfits, serving drinks that were pre-mixed, and it was like a half-hour line for the bar because that's where everybody went because everybody wants to do the cool new things. And so everyone's like, I waited 30 minutes for my credentials, 45 minutes to get in here. I haven't done anything yet. And I don't know.
Pre-mixed drinks with like just random bartender people and no entertainment.
Yeah.
I don't understand. Like, get somebody from the wedding pavilion to show you how do you make I mean, they've done this successfully everywhere all the time. Like, whoever thought it was okay to have just 2 bartenders in a cart for like a lounge or a club type scene should be fired. Like, they should be literally fired or transferred somewhere else. Like, that's not fired. Good people, they still have bills to pay, but maybe this position's not for you.
Yeah. And then the other big lounge, the Brown Derby Lounge, you had to do like a virtual walk-up list, something like that. So right when the party opened, you had to go into the app. Apparently within 2 minutes, all the slots for the whole time were gone.
Of course.
And then there was an IT glitch where every single person who got one was notified your table will be ready in 10 minutes. But it accidentally went to everybody. So not everybody's table is actually ready in 10 minutes. So some people were just hanging out trying to figure out, literally waiting. I mean, I think they left after a while, but some of it wasn't for 2 hours later that their table was actually ready.
Is that where we got the picture that's going around social media where like the line is like 5 hours long and it's just kind of speed walking like back through like Sunset Boulevard?
Yeah, some of it's for that. Some of it's for the food. They just didn't have enough food and beverage. There was like a 15 to 20 minute line to get the Gertie cookie, which these are the types of things they should be handing out for free, like not making you it. And I was trying to do some of the math. So it's, last night was $159 to get in for a 4-hour event. That means you're roughly paying $40 per hour just to be there. So if you're in line for 20 minutes for a cookie, not only is it the cookie, yeah, it was $20 in line plus $4.50 for a cookie or whatever. Yeah, and it looks like a lot of the food was wasn't great and the drinks weren't great. I do want to give some positives to it. The Holidays in Hollywood show that went on in the Hollywood Bowl, that was the line that was I know Blog Mickey posted, because everyone was hearing how great it was. I give them credit. It looks like an amazing show. The reaction to that was really positive, and they had multiple casts and stuff like that. But yeah, it was huge, and people were online for that for an hour to get in. Again, 4-hour event, you're spending a quarter of that in line to get into one of the shows. And then they also had a Nightmare Before Christmas show that's getting a lot of positive. So it seems like the two things that they really invested in, they did a really good job. It's just a lot of the other areas kind of under-delivered. Other positive, wait times for the rides were really low. One review,
assuming they worked.
Yeah, well, yeah, I guess Rise was down for a good chunk of it. Not surprised. But somebody put the longest posted time they saw was 20 minutes for a Slinky Dog. So I think if you went and were doing rides, you probably had a good time. The thing is, this was marketed more as like adult cocktail hour, golden age of Hollywood. Like everyone wanted to do all those types of things.
Yeah.
It's probably a lot of adults, probably a lot of locals and people doing kind of date night. They probably don't want to just ride Toy Story Mania for the 847th time that they've done it. They want to do all the unique stuff. And I don't know, even some of like the most positive vloggers and stuff like that. Like, I wanted to see, cause he's positive about everything, Paging Mr. Morrow. I just went to the end of his video to see the review. Even he was like, I don't think it was worth it. I'm not going back. Like, so that's nice. So I think there are the bones there of a potentially good party, because the theming is still great. You got, some of the music acts they had were good. But it needs a lot of work, and we'll see what they can get done before the next party versus otherwise it might be they're selling t-shirts. That was the other thing. I guess the only unique merch was one t-shirt.
Oh, good.
And they were out of most of the sizes like by halfway through the night. But it said like,
amateur hour. I mean, like Disney loves selling merch. How are you not ready with merch?
Well, that's what everyone was saying, that they're like, we already gave you money. We're trying to give you more money. Why are you making this hard? But the t-shirt said like inaugural, and that might become a collector's item because it might be the only year.
Inaugural of one. But I mean, a lot of ideas are buzzing through my head, but like you were really invested in this and you have some ideas. So our game for today is coming up first. It's our top five ways to make a good holiday party, right?
Yeah.
So how are you fixing this, Phil? What do you
Yeah.
think?
So I was focusing on like what are things that I think they could do, and some of these, if not all of these, I think they could still probably implement this year. But one of it's obviously logistics for the event as a whole.
Mhm.
It shouldn't take half hour to get to your credentials. They need more people, and the shows, like I said, they were online for an hour to get into that show. Somehow they have to make that where, I don't know if you get a virtual queue, like you reserve a spot or something like that, or everyone's
Yeah.
given a reservation, almost like, if you do the candlelight processional dining package, they're like, here's your pass for this show.
Yeah,
Maybe
they
it's
need to
almost
give you
like
a
that.
ticket or something.
Something like
you
that. So-
buy your ticket and then they give you, here's your showing. Like
Exactly.
yeah, like you don't get a choice, but here you go.
And then maybe they leave some room for standby if you want to take a chance, but you're guaranteed into one of these seating, something like that. So that's number one. It needs to make all that stuff easier. Number two is the food and bars and stuff. They need more locations. Again, it needs to be like easier to give them money. There needs to be more bartenders, more food places.
Like the whole place should be just a giant bar down Sunset Boulevard, like handing out beverages. Give me your Magic Band. Click. Here's a rum and Coke. Click. Here's a beer. Like here's the Jack Daniel's slushy machine. Just like open that up in a river of slushy and just put people's faces underneath.
And I also think at least some of it should be included. Again, the tickets are $159 to $179. Nothing was included in this. If you go to the Halloween party, you get all that candy for trick-or-treating. If you go to the Mickey's Christmas party, there's
unlimited cookies.
There's all these cookie stops. You can get cocoa, eggnog, stuff like that. Nothing here. I'm not saying they can't have some upcharge stuff, but if it's supposed to be like a cocktail hour, have people with passing out trays of like champagne or something like that, and those Gertie cookies should be free.
They can't do booze, right? I'm pretty sure they can't give away free booze because of liability of underage people getting some, right? That's I'm assuming why they can't do it.
But if they can't do that, then do sparkling cider or something like that.
Coffee, Coke, like all the normal outdoor type of things. Yeah. Hand those out by like the gallon. Just here, everybody takes them. You should be handing out like candy canes to people, so they go around like with candy canes and those stupid cookies, like. People that are in line for cookies and cupcakes and all this other thing, it's stupid. It's a sugar cookie. Like great if you can wait 5 minutes for it, awesome. If you're waiting any time longer than 5 or 10 minutes for a cookie, like you are a vlogger that needs to get your picture. I mean that's basically what it comes down to.
And I'm sure that was a lot of it last night or the first night. Some of it might ease up a little bit for the future episode, future dates, but yeah, they need to include more with this event that you get included with it. They had some character meets, but some of those were problematic too, because apparently meeting like the Fab Five or Mickey and Minnie, it was like at this line it's for Mickey or Minnie, or this one is like Donald or Goofy, and you don't know which one you're going to meet. So like one could be meeting there, and while you're in line, and then by the time you get up there, they take a break and the next one comes back. There was the one truly unique meet and greet was Phineas and Ferb were out, and they were in holiday garb, and that's very rare character, very nice to meet. A lot of people that were probably attending this grew up with Phineas and Ferb and stuff like that. Great. People were quoting a 2-hour wait to meet them. Like that's half the party. There needs to be more specialty characters, special meet and greets. And this ties into my fourth one, which is they needed to use more of the park. Everything was focused in just a couple areas.
Yeah.
And there was nothing special going on in Toy Story Land. There was nothing special going on to Galaxy's Edge. These are the big expansion, like new things you added to the park, and you're not using them. And then I just saw today that at Disneyland's Galaxy's Edge, they're going to have all this special food and stuff for Life Day, which is kind of the Star Wars equivalent of the holidays of Christmas. Why can't they do that here during that party? And like you could have Chewie meeting in his Life Day robes and stuff like that as another special meet and greet. Like there's just spread the people out. Like,
how are you not converting Animation Courtyard, which is basically useless property, and just have a giant something tree or something there with a meet and greet? Like meet Santa in Animation Courtyard. Just clear the whole thing out, make a big giant meet and greet area that's tucked away because there's nothing back there, and you can do that during the day and during the party. Like you didn't mention. I mean, you meant I wrote 5 things. I guess what you were going to say, and I think I nailed pretty much basically. You need a parade. in this thing. You
Yeah.
need a reason for people to line up, have a couple drinks, and like hang out in the streets rather than hang out in the line for a show.
Yeah, that was something that a lot of people mentioned, like some sort of cavalcade or show or something that people can, besides the fireworks at the end, which is something that used to be included with a regular park ticket. Now is behind a paywall.
Yeah.
The last thing I was going to suggest though was,
go ahead.
and this is probably more for next year, but do attraction overlays like they do at the Magic Kingdom. That's a special thing that if you go to the holiday party, you get to do versions of the rides that nobody else gets to do unless you pay to go to the party. You have these screen-based attractions. Like I joked before, people don't want to necessarily spend the time riding Toy Story Mania for the 847th time. What if it was a holiday overlay, though, and it was all new scenes and stuff like that you could only access when here? More things like, Aerosmith does Christmas songs. Like you could do an have the Christmas songs playing in Rock and Roller Coaster. Like give incentive for people to do other things in the park, spread them out, and have other things that are unique that you can only access by going to this party.
I have a suspicion that people that designed this and put the logistics together took a look at the crowds at the ticketed events from 2 years ago. It's not Extra Magic. It was the what's the party that happens after hours at Disney or at Hollywood Studios?
Well, they have the after hours, just the regular after hours events, and then
the event, not the party. Because I keep wanting to say Extra Magic Hours, but that's not what. Anyway, they probably took because the crowds at those were significantly less than a full blown party, and they probably took a look at the logistics of how do you do that. And there's probably about half as many people at those events versus the party.
Yeah.
First of all, if half the people were there, there'd probably be a couple bartenders here and there to just be fine because most of the people are spread out. They probably saw higher usage of rides because those extra hours.
That's what it felt
basically
like.
for rides, right?
Yeah,
Like,
it felt like they were like, okay, all these people will use the rides. Like everyone will spread out because the rides is part of it, and then some people will be over here and some people over there. But it was really people were just interested in the new stuff, so they were all focused on the one area.
Especially opening night, right? Like people want to get their holiday on. It's just after Halloween. You got a lot of media people there, all this other stuff. They want to try the new stuff. And the fact like the Tip Top Club sounds really cool. It's like a band, they're playing music. I'd want to hang out and just kind of have a couple drinks and watch it and just be outside, enjoy the almost rainy weather before it turned to rain. Like I want to do all that type of stuff, but you weren't able to buy drinks. Like that's unbelievable to me. You have all these people, you're just not selling them stuff. Like these people. Anyway, we go on and on about this. But like they needed Streetmosphere back. I mean, like get some old timey, citizens of Hollywood running around making jokes.
I mean, that's another thing here. How easy would it be if they really need something? Call up citizens of Hollywood and have them there ready to go for the second party, and at least have them in a different area taking away people.
What I'm really interested in, because Len Testa mentioned this and WDW Magic Forums. He might have mentioned it in today's podcast. I haven't listened to it yet. Disney's just giving refunds to anybody who wants them. Like you just have to ask, can I have a refund? They're not even arguing. They're just like, yes, here's a refund.
Yeah, from what I've heard from this event, they're pretty quick to give you like credit towards something. Like people are saying, okay, well, we'll give you credit towards a Mickey's Not So Scary or Mickey's Very Merry Christmas or something like that. It's a little harder to get actual like cash back. Some people are doing it if they talk to managers or, have a good reason or something like that. But they are like, it's not taking much to get some sort of credit for having this experience.
Yeah. And to me, that's absolutely amazing. This is going to be interesting. When's the next show? Is it next Friday? Is it or Thursday, Friday, or Saturday?
I'm not actually sure. Let me check.
Not that it makes a difference. It's going to be. It's going to happen before we record our next show. Basically,
yeah. I
am really interested in seeing what.
Yeah, the next one is this coming Saturday, so they do have like a whole week, and then the next one is after that is the Monday. So, So what they do have until this Saturday to fix some stuff.
So, I mean, if they're only serving out of carts, they can roll up some extra carts, right?
Yeah.
They can put something there. Hiring entertainment and doing that type of thing might be kind of difficult to do, but it's really easy to put some really carts and some Christmas lights other places. Like I saw a picture of like ABC Commissary. I think it was WDW Magic's review of the event. And there's just like the commissary was basically empty except for some entertainment and some cast members with just strings of lights, one string of lights going zigzagging like above it. I'm like, can we not deck this out a bit better?
Well, even that was a big complaint about the Brown Derby, which was supposed to be one of the big things. You had to get on the app, blah, blah, blah. They had like one bit of garland by like the piano player, and that was really it. And then the piano player wasn't even doing Christmas songs. Like he was mostly doing Disney songs and like other top 40 type stuff. And then like maybe every fifth song was a holiday song. Like I don't understand it. Like, and so maybe some of that stuff can get fixed, right? Add more decorations, focus on doing actually holiday music, make it a holiday event. So I think there are some small things which it'll be interesting to see how quickly they can correct.
Yeah, I'm if we were smart and prepared, we would probably put a whole game together and say, what would they change, right? But I don't know if that's even worth putting together at this point. So I'm pretty sure there's going to be tons of articles and vlogs about comparing the first night versus the second night. I'm pretty sure there's plenty of people that are ready to do that, and we'll just use their articles, their videos to talk about them and give them proper credit, of course.
But it'd be interesting to see because right now only 3 of the dates, there's only 10 dates and only 3 of them are sold out. I'm assuming a lot of what's coming out from night 1 is not encouraging people to buy tickets to this. So yeah, they really got to kind of change that narrative.
I mean, and this will be the last thing I say about this. Typically, when there's something not great at Disney, you'll have some people saying, "Oh, it's okay," and other people going, "No, it's terrible," and some in betweens, or people not giving an opinion. That type of. It's almost universally panned at this point. There's like no getting away. There's no one saying this was, a success or fun type of thing. Yeah. Everybody's basically saying, "Get out of here" and whatnot. So. Anyway, top 5 things. We didn't really do a top 5, but a top 5 ways to make a good holiday party I think are pretty obvious. Is you give proper entertainment, make sure your guests are fed and having drinks and being merry. And if you're inviting enough people, make sure you have enough room for all of them. Spread them out. Yeah. I guess that's kind of party 101. Maybe Disney is still in that again. I don't know why. I was reading Discord the other day because I've been gone for 2 weeks. I'm going to talk about this in a second. But one thing I saw is that your son really wants to ride a specific airline, and I don't understand why. So why don't you tell me what's going on?
So probably need some background. So my son is really into airplanes, and even more than like flying airplanes or whatever, he's really into like airlines and reading up about airlines. And I don't know, some of it's because they watch videos. My wife and he like these travel videos. So some of these vloggers get into like these super, first class type things and stuff like that. But he's always like, it's like, Dad, guess what my top 10 airlines are right now? I'm like, I don't know what your top 10 airlines are, like blah, blah, blah. And like whatever all these things. And he goes to some website like constantly that just shows where all the planes are in the world at any point, and you can like click on one, it'll tell you what plane it is, like what model it is, what year it came out, and something. Like he's really into like all these things about planes. So whenever we go anywhere, he wants to fly, and he's like, "Oh, what airline are we flying? Like, oh, what like model plane is it?" Blah, blah. I'm like, I don't know. Like, we'll find out when we get there.
In the air, I'm happy.
Yeah, exactly. But anyway, for some reason and maybe it's just because we haven't ridden it yet, and he likes the business model or something like that. He's really into this new airline, which was founded by the same person who founded JetBlue, called Breeze. So he really wants to fly in a Breeze Airways, and they're like a value type thing where they don't go to a lot of places, but the flights are pretty cheap, kind of, budget type airline. So like, okay, for Christmas last year, one of his presents was we gave him a certificate that was like good for a flight on Breeze. We'll figure it out, like where you want to go, because got to make sure the dates work and pick pricing and stuff like that. We still haven't used it, and we're trying to figure out like how to use it and get it in there. Mm-hmm. And one thing I noticed was that they're going to start flying out of one of the local airports near here.
Okay.
And they're going to 2 different places, and one of the places is Orlando. And I know. But even when I was checking other places, it's like, especially in the winter, there's not always like stuff to do. And my wife's like, well, just fly down and then fly back. I'm like, well, I got to do something with the kid while we're like down there or whatever. Obviously there's things to do in Orlando. So my proposal, and this lines up with nights that they have flights, was that on Thursday, March 7th, we would fly down to Orlando. It gets in at about 1:15 p.m. And then there's a flight the next morning, leaves at 7:40. So we'd just be there overnight one night. But that night and that Friday that we have off from school, so you'd only miss like one day, no big deal. And round trip per person for that flight would be like $122. So pretty minimal for round trip flight. That night is an after hours event at Epcot. So I was like, we could go down, go to the after. My initial idea was we go down, like Uber to the Disney property, go to the after hours party, then just go back to the airport and kind of like sleep at the airport until the flight goes there.
Well, why not?
My wife was like, I don't know about that. And then we're kind of even looking into like, can you even be there 24 hours a day and how that work and stuff like that. So I don't know if we'll do that or just find a cheap hotel or something like that. But I threw out that idea. My son obviously loved that idea. He's like, wait, are we going to go on rides and stuff too? I was like, yeah. He's like, he knew right where it was. He runs into his drawer, grabs the certificate. And he's like, here, I'm in.
I'm in.
So we haven't totally signed off on it yet, but this is and so I just threw it out there on Discord. It's like, so what do you guys think about this crazy idea?
Yeah.
Down and back. We're not even there for like 24 hours. And of course, Matt Pato was like, love it. Do it. Like,
of course.
But so that's my crazy idea for having a little bonding time with my son to use his present that he gets on his favorite airline. And we get a little Epcot time in there as well.
I'm totally for it. I mean, the cost seems minimal, right? It's like $250 for you guys to fly down.
Yeah.
The event is going to be what, another $400 or so?
It's like $150, I think, or something.
Yeah,
it's about $300 for the event.
So you got $500 for an overnight adventure.
Yeah.
To Disney World. That's a lot of money, but I think that's like one of those things that you'll remember for like your whole life. I mean, it's a cool thing. It's just you and him. Right, so he gets to take advantage of that. He gets his airplane back and forth again. Like he'll love that, and he gets on rides. I mean, now the only other thing is, can you just say like this is a birthday present, so you get out of a birthday present type of thing?
Yeah. So obviously the flight he already had, and we said to do this, like maybe it'll be part of like this year's Christmas present or this year's birthday present.
Okay.
Like not the whole thing, but like doing this, instead of just flying down and like not doing anything and flying back.
Right. Yeah. No, I mean that's good. I mean, anytime I could take one of my 3 kids somewhere alone, I think it's special because it's not often I get to do that, minus like sports practices and stuff like that. Like, so no, I would do it. I mean, it's just to get back down to Disney, right? Do one thing overnight. You get to go to Epcot and have a lot of fun in your favorite park for one night. And when was the last time you were able to be at a Disney park where you're not managing a trip, a significant other, 3 children,
exactly,
demanding, asking, and pulling you in 1,000 different directions? This would be like you and him, and you just kind of get to do whatever you want for 4 or 5 hours.
Exactly.
I think that's worth it. Just beyond just doing a nice thing. It's like I remember last year going down with just my wife, doing whatever we wanted at parks and not have to like push strollers and feed kids and do all the stuff that comes along with that.
Yeah,
I think that's great. I think you'd probably have a lot of fun. I'd book it. If you're good with that price and you're happy with it.
I mean, I think I'm trying to get final sign off from the wife that it's okay to do this.
You'll get there. Yeah.
No,
I like it. I would do it. I wanted to do that with my daughter somehow, but every time I put stuff together, it's like, this is $900, and then all the other kids would get angry. But
yeah,
so I'm trying to think. The only opportunity I have, so my oldest daughter turns 11. I wanted to do it so like when you turn 10, double digits, we could do this Disney trip, but that didn't work out. So now I think now the next one's like when you become a teenager, maybe that's something that we can do. Is special. At least it's spaced out like every like 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
Speaking of trips with my kids, so a little trip update. Phil and I were talking right before we started recording, and I can't believe like Thanksgiving's next week already. Like I thought, like I'm having a little bit of a time warp only because my last 2 weeks have been travel heavy with work, staying by myself at a hotel, doing some work at a client, and basically the last 2 weeks are just like they're gone. Like I think like Halloween was just like yesterday, and it's already 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
That it happened. And so, we were talking about this on the show where like, yeah, we had a trip planned for Christmas and we weren't sure if we were going or not, this, that, and the other. And what did I say? Probably around the 60-day mark is when we kind of like, yes, we took the plunge and
Exactly.
bought the tickets, right? Because I'm doing a travel agent discount. You can't buy tickets part of the package with the discount. So I had to buy, when I bought them, I had to buy them. There's no refund at that point. And then I finally pulled the trigger on the Christmas party. So I'm having my typical ADR struggles because I didn't book my ADRs until like day 56. I've been tackling these things. I still can't get skippers past lunch, even though plenty of slots open in dinner time for parties of 4. So I think I can get lucky at 24-hour mark or wait list to get in there. So I was
gonna say even day of, maybe, yeah, for sure.
Yep. Liberty Tree Tavern, I still have a 4:40 reservation, which is fine because that's like you could stretch that to sit down around 5:00 and start eating. That's to me that's fine, and I don't mind dropping skippers for that only because I've never been to the Liberty Tree Tavern and I would always like to try something new. And then the other ADR I have for that day is the Be Our Guest restaurant. And my wife's still like, oh, well, Aurora, our youngest daughter, has not really experienced it. I think it'd be great. It's the last time we probably get to do it. I'm like, that is so much money. I think I said the same thing last week. So maybe we do that. I don't know. But right now I can only do a 3:05 window, and I'm not spending that much money on that type of food at 3:00 in the afternoon. It needs to be a bit later in the day. So maybe I play with that. But maybe we'll cancel it early a day of. I got to figure out. I know there's new cancellation rules within the last 2 years. I think it's instead of 24 hours before, it's down to 2 hours before.
It's 2 hours. Yeah, exactly.
So maybe we'll play loosey goosey with that. The other thing that I did was, Matt Pato on his stupid podcast show was making fun of me again, and called me out saying that you and I were talking about having like resort days and off days, and the whole team thought that we were being literal with like resort day, like we spend 12 hours at the resort and don't move and go anywhere, which is not the case. Basically, it's a non-park day. We can fill it with other things to do. That's how we do it in the Dodge family. So, we were going to like wake up late, maybe get some coffee and breakfast at the resort, swim a little bit. My wife's like, oh, me and Sawyer will play ping pong. Like, you're not playing ping pong for 2 hours before you end up going to Disney Springs. So I'm thinking, okay, there's only so much swimming you can do in a day, right? There's only so many $10 beers I can buy from the Banana Cabana and watch the kids run around swimming. So, and we're a big swimming family. Like, we're in a pool from like May through like September, right? So it's not like, we're dying need of swimming. So I booked Boma breakfast. Like, I've heard so many amazing things about that buffet that I'm like, you know what? Why not? And I booked it, and he had a perfect time. It was like 10:20 in the morning. Now, my question for you, Phil, is how would you get to Animal Kingdom Lodge in the morning? I do have a car that day. So here's the two things. You just drive, right?
Yeah.
But now you're getting into the car, you're breaking the Disney bubble, you're fighting traffic, you have to do parking and all this other nonsense. Or do you do Skyliner to Hollywood to a bus to Animal Kingdom Lodge? What would you do?
Considering it's your resort day and you're not really bound by any times, I would be tempted to do let's see how many different forms of transportation can we take. So yeah, I would do like the Skyliner over to Hollywood Studios, the bus to Animal Kingdom, and that sort of thing. If you were like, we're doing this and then we got to get to the airport or we got to, something like that, then I would definitely drive. Because I know what you're saying about it kind of breaks the bubble and fight traffic and stuff, but it's not that much to get there. Like
it's not really. Yeah. But I'm like, if I get into the car, because the car's gonna be a mess, right? Because it's Animal Kingdom. I can't remember. This would be our 4th full day on property. So Arrival plus 4. Yeah. So Epcot, Magic Kingdom party. Yeah. So our 4th full day there. Their car is going to be a mess from driving down. Like, everybody's clothes that are in there, because we're leaving in the middle of winter. It's going to be very warm. So everybody's jackets and sweatshirts and all that other stuff are going to be in the car. Do I really want to get in the car, squeeze all the kids in there, and be reminded of the mess I have to clean up? Like, late after the vacation. Like, to me, getting into the car is going to be a reminder that our trip is almost over, right?
Yeah.
Which we'll be like right in the middle of the trip. So I don't know if I want to do that. part of me like I'll waste another 10 or 20 minutes and drag all the kids on a bus just to not do that. And maybe we could actually get a look at Hollywood Studios and can pretend that we were spending a day there. I don't know. So I'm with you. I'm with you on that. I just have to convince my wife to do that, which probably won't work. But another thing I haven't been doing is I haven't done any Christmas party planning. We just started watching the videos of all the different bloggers and stuff like that. We watched the Diz, we watched the Mammoth Club, a little bit of that. And I don't know how to plan this. I know where all this fancy specialty foods are. There's really not anything that knocks my socks off. I know where all the cookie stations are. So I know you did a lot of prep work when you did the Halloween party. So what did you do in order to kind of have fun?
Yeah.
What was your priority of planning?
Yeah. So I think I did a lot of what you did, watching the vloggers and how they plan their day and what they hit up. And I know Touring Plans has good videos for like maximizing your time there and stuff like that. So we definitely watched those. Then we really just thought about like, what are the priorities? Because you can't do everything. You can't go on a million rides and do all the entertainment and hit all the cookie stops and all the specialty food. So what are the most important elements to you? And for us, it was seeing the entertainment. So seeing the parade, the stage show, and the fireworks, and doing at least one of the like special overlays to the rides. And then we wanted to meet at least one kind of rare character. So I think you kind of that was the priorities for us. We know for the rare characters, the best thing to do is kind of line up before the party started. So we picked our character. We did that like right when the party was, about an hour or so.
Kind of thing, right?
And then, then we just kind of, did the rides we wanted to, did the treat trails we wanted to. But we're kind of watching it around the shows and stuff like that. So we knew when the time the parade was, when the fireworks were, like we wanted to be on Main Street for those. So everything was kind of planned around the entertainment because that's what was important to us to get out of this event. And we kind of just mixed in a little bit of everything else.
Yeah, I've got the times for all the events. So like, there's a stage show like 4 times during the night. There's 2 fireworks. There's a thing called Reindeer Wranglers, which I think is an awful like boy band type of thing. That's in Tomorrowland type of thing. And I think we're going to pick a slot for each one of those. So like, okay, I don't know, like stage show is at 7:40, the parade's at 8:30, and there's fireworks at 10 o'clock. Maybe do those 3 things and then slot in all the other stuff. I'm thinking that's how to do that. There's a lot of meet and greet characters here. There's like, I don't know, like almost 15 to 20 of them to meet. So I guess we have to pick one of those and go there.
Yeah.
So I think that's what I haven't done that yet. So I'm getting some anxiety on how to plan those trips, but we got 33 days before we leave. So plenty of time for that. The one thing that's really making me antsy, and I don't remember being this antsy last year, is the Festival of the Holiday information's not out yet. The kitchens and all that stuff is out. But Festival of Holidays doesn't start until just after Thanksgiving. I want to say like December 4th. I don't know why that date's sticking out of my head, but it starts. It's not ongoing right now.
Right.
And I'm like, did we really? Because we went down in the middle of December. Like, did we just like figure all this stuff out like within 2 weeks of leaving last year? It seems like the Festival of Holidays was longer. So that's another thing. That's
all right.
Kind
Just
of
checked.
like,
It starts November 24th, goes through November 30th. So
just on Thanksgiving. Is it Thanksgiving the 24th? But in any case, it's right there. It starts next week. So we'll have
day after Thanksgiving.
Yeah,
so it's Black Friday, basically.
Excellent. So I got to figure out how to do the Festival of the Holidays, where all the treats are, where to get, like, are they doing like the Olaf hunt thing, and just kind of getting what we want to do those days to make sure that we're doing that. So that's still on my mind.
Just looking at the website now, they do have the Olaf scavenger hunts going on. They have the cookie stroll again.
Yep.
Obviously they have the different, the storytellers at the different countries and stuff like that. So,
see, I could plan this all out. We're going to do exactly what we did last year, but I want this year has been the year of the kids helping to plan, and they're not going to read a website because they don't have internet devices. So it's got to come in video format. So that's not going to happen until after Thanksgiving. So I'm getting a little anxious about that. I mean, can I wing it? Sure. Yes, it'll be fine.
Yeah.
But I'd like to have a list of things that we want to tick off when we get there. I still haven't figured out what days I'm getting Genie Plus. I'm leaning towards none of them and see what happens. And then I haven't looked closely, but the Disney Spring offerings too. I know they'll do like the Christmas tree stroll or whatever you call it. But I want to get a better list of the stuff because we're going to be there. It's like that is our night. We're going to go there purposely for Disney Springs, and I won't be like exhausted like the day I arrived last year or that type of thing. So I'm looking forward to that. Again, I'm just looking for some videos so the kids can get involved and they can watch. It's like, oh, I want to eat that. I want to eat that. So we have a list of like snacks we want to attack. So that's a bit longer of a trip planning topic that I wanted to go through. But I don't know if you guys like following through my trip planning, but these are the things I think about on a daily basis: is finding those ADRs and worrying about videos that are not out yet by the Disney Plus. I never thought I'd be like, "Where are all the vloggers now? They need to help me, or at least help my kids." Okay, so what do you want to do? Do you want to go right to our DBC engagement, Phil? Because I know you had one or two other things that you.
Yeah, I had one other topic. Maybe I'll talk about it now as kind of a preview for. I think we'll talk about it a little bit. It ties into our DBC engagement.
Yep,
it's just that they. I've noticed with Disney, specifically with Wish, the new movie that's coming out now, and one thing Len Testa did talk about in the Disney Dish today is that I guess they have to have like special wording for things so that when search engines are searching for things, it finds Wish the movie, not Wish the cruise ship, because they both like came out fairly recently. So that's why a lot of times you'll see like it'll say like Wish the new movie or something like that because the search end they want to make sure the search engines are finding the right thing. But anyway, I noticed they're doing a lot more and different type of marketing for the movie, a little bit for the other new movie that came out that we'll talk about a bit, the Marvels. But specifically for Wish, they've been trying different things. They announced that one of the songs from it is going to be part of the new show that they do on Spaceship Earth in Epcot. So the movie's not even out yet. They're putting it on Spaceship Earth. They've been releasing a new song from it every Wednesday, I think it is, to kind of build excitement towards the release. I think it's already been in the toy that's at McDonald's. They have the character, Asha, the new lead in that, is already meet and greets in like kind of all the parks around the world already. Again, movie's not out yet. They had the premiere of it and they were using drones to like be exciting at the premiere and stuff. So it just kind of hit me that I've talked in the past that it feels like their marketing has been bad for a lot of these movies, whether it's, for Elemental, that people didn't even know it was coming out, and they seem very old fashioned in their advertising, which is like they put specials on the TV or whatever, but nobody watches terrestrial TV anymore. And like, how do you like kind of get people's attentions? And it seems like they're trying different things with this. So I don't know if you've noticed that as well. And if so, do you think, I guess we'll find out shortly because it comes out within the next week or so, if it helped or not. But I just thought it was interesting that they were trying new things.
Our DBC question from last week, if everybody recalls, is: do you plan on going to the movie theater to watch The Wish or The Marvels? And mostly what I'm seeing is most people are saying they're going to go see The Wish in the theaters, which I don't think we have any Disney movie in the post-pandemic where everybody on Discord was saying they're going to go see it, or at least 80%.
Not everybody, but but
right?
majority
of people, yes. Majority of people said they will not go see the Marvels. Then again, we don't have a heavy like MCU like super fan club in Discord right now, so it's not, that doesn't surprise me at all. Me personally, I am going to bring my kids to see The Wish because I think it's going to be perfect to get us primed up for our Disney vacations. I think that's going to be fun. And the family together has never been to the movies as a family of five because, my daughter was 2 years old when the pandemic started and just haven't gone, right? I think the last movie that we all went to was like Moana, and my youngest wasn't born yet. Anyway, we're going to go see The Wish. But the Marvels, if I don't see it, I won't be disappointed. But it's something like if me and a buddy of mine that we're both big into the MCU, if we're hanging out on a Saturday or Sunday night and be like, hey, you want to go see a movie? We'll go see it. I mean, we won't hesitate to pull the trigger, but it's not something I need to see. And unfortunately, it got very bad returns over the weekend from things that I read. I haven't looked today, but the totals as of Sunday were pretty abysmal for an MCU movie. I think we could spend 2 hours talking about why, and there's plenty of YouTube videos that do a better job of doing that. So I'll leave that to everybody else on the internet. But I know you were going to go see the early premiere, and you saw the Marvels already, correct?
Yeah. So I went to see the Marvels on Thursday when it first, I guess the preview night came out on Friday. Mostly because I heard there was like going to be kind of an exciting post-credit scene, and honestly, I was very excited to see this. I really liked Miss Marvel character.
Mhm.
I liked kind of all the characters in it, but it just looked good. It looked entertaining, and I kind of wanted to support it and go see it. Also, my wife and oldest daughter wanted to see it, so they saw it on Friday. We kind of split up because the younger two weren't interested. And I couldn't let them see it and me not see it because then they wouldn't know what happened and I didn't. So
Yeah.
that's kind of why it became a priority to go see it as early as I did. And we all really liked it. It's definitely one of the better MCU movies of late. It felt like more of an old school MCU movie where they present characters and give you a reason to care about them. Good humor, good fight scenes. Certainly wasn't perfect. It's not a top tier Marvel movie, but it was certainly an enjoyable time at the movie. So like for you, like you said, you and your buddies are like, yeah, you want to go to the movies? I would suggest going to see it. Again, it's not like a must do, but if you're on the fence, I think it's worth seeing.
But to tie this back into your advertising question,
Yeah.
right? I have seen more things for Wish in the ways that I consume content, which is YouTube, websites, Discord, X, whatever, versus the Marvels. The only reason why I've seen the Marvels because it's been in my Twitter feed and I've got MCU algorithms up the butt off of YouTube, so all that stuff pops up, right? So that's the only reason why I'm familiar with it. If I was not a Marvel fan, I don't think I would really be aware that this was coming out. But the Wish, they're going, like you mentioned, they're doing a lot of different avenues to get the word out there, and I think hopefully Disney can learn their marketing lessons and not do these big giant events that get almost like no press at all, or they get press but it doesn't go beyond the Hollywood press bubble, let's say, right? And figure out different ways to saturate the market. Because Elementals turned out to be like a top 10 grossing movie in this year.
It slowly
took them like 8 months to get there.
Right. It had good word of mouth, and I am hoping that and a lot of people seem to have liked Marvel's similar views to mine. Not that it's the most amazing movie ever, but pretty good, enjoyable movie. So hopefully word of mouth maybe carries that a little bit too. But yeah. We'll see.
No, I mean the only other thing that I think other thing that I think is that traditionally people go to the movies is completely different for a lot of people now, right? And it takes effort for people to do that. And then on the flip side, Disney had trained people that the movie will be on Disney Plus pretty quickly. So there's a lot of people in the Discord says, I'll wait till it comes on Disney Plus and not spend my $20. But they've been pushing that back quite a bit, retraining people that if you want to see the movie, you got to see it now, or you're not going to be able to see it for 8 months or 6 months or when it normally would be for rental. And I think that's smart for Disney to do that. So I'm looking forward to The Wish. I need a good old fashioned Disney animated movie. We haven't had one of those in quite some time, so I'm looking forward to it. I hope the music is good. For all of those out there, I predicted all the Frozen music would be awful, so I am not a predictor when it comes to Disney music, whether it's going to be a hit or not. I heard some of the music. I mean, I've heard the music that they've released. It sounds catchy. It sounds fun. It's different. It's a different style of music. I just hope it captures people because we could totally need a new influx and some, family.
Yeah, it'd be nice if they have a hit on their hands that kind of. We've talked about this for a lot. Like, what does Disney need? Because there's kind of a lot of negativity. Is that they need some excitement around the company, around the positivity, and I think this movie could do that. So we'll see. So yeah, the one other thing they're doing is they are having a preview day of it. So it officially comes out, I believe, on the 22nd, but on the 18th, so this coming Saturday, they're doing. I think it's 750 theaters across the country are having one showing, and we got our tickets to that, so we'll be seeing it this Saturday. Cool. And everyone was like kind of pumped and excited for it, that it kind of feels like a little bit like an event, which I think that's what people
you need that in today's
you need that for now to go to go to the theaters. If you look at, like you were saying, the top 10 movies, so far only 2 movies made $1 billion. I know Oppenheimer's close, but it was Barbie and the Mario movie. And those like became like events. Everyone's talking about like you go to Barbie or Oppenheimer, blah, blah, blah. Like nothing else really did, It feels like Disney had a terrible year. They have 4 films in the top 10, so it's not like they didn't make any money, but they didn't have any of those up to some extent Guardians of the Galaxy, but like they didn't really have anything that really grabbed the nation's attention. And I'm not
wasn't
saying
like
Wish
they had
is going to
four of
do
the
that.
top 5 movies, like with
Yeah.
Endgame making billions of dollars.
Right. Well, it
and
just used to be in the
everything else.
past. They put out a Marvel movie, they put out a Star Wars movie, they put out a live action remake, and they all make $1 billion. And that
Mhm.
isn't happening now, because you have to give people a reason to go and make kind of that, and a reason to feel like if they don't go, they're missing out on talking with their friends and stuff like that. And only a handful of movies have done that this year. So,
And I think it's also, if we're going to go down this rabbit hole, we will. Audiences have been trained in the last couple of years not to enjoy MCU movies because they're so disjointed, and you can go
Yep.
watch a million YouTube videos and what Marvel's doing wrong and what Marvel's doing right and all this other stuff. But there is, I don't know if it's MCU fatigue, but it's MCU weariness. Not weariness. Not, you're not tired, but you're wary of their product, right? Like, oh, I got to watch this because I need to know what happens next, and it just doesn't lead to anything. So everybody's been like, "What next? What next?" And it's just kind of like there's only so much hype that you could constantly get for all these movies, and the hype never delivering constantly on all these things exhausts people.
Yep.
So I think that's a big. I think that has a downward trend on Marvel movies. I think Star Wars has just been awful for a very long time, with very few bright spots in some of the content that they've been creating. You know, we're both, you and I are big fans of Andor. For me, Ahsoka was pretty exciting, but also very, very disappointing at the same time. And I think people are trained for that right now. It's mostly a nostalgia fanfic kind of train with Filoni stuff. And then a lot of the Disney live action remakes have been just kind of like, all right, we have, not a lily white redhead playing the mermaid. So now there's like the whole woke discussion, which is the dumbest discussion in the world, but that's just sitting there. And then you have a lot of people, why another live action remake? They didn't have to make it. I'm like, well, Mermaid made a couple bucks here, and it'll continue making.
Yeah, it was considered like a bomb, and it was like the 6th highest grossing movie of the year or something.
Yeah.
Like it was one of the ones in the top 10 for sure. So
I mean, like, you've got like the live action Snow White coming out at some point next, and that might be fine, but I think people are getting tired. Like, it was cool to see a handful of live action remakes just to kind of retell the story and see it in a different light. But now I think people are desiring of a new story, right? They don't want existing IP, or if it's a new IP, make it exciting and different. And I think that's why, Barbie was a hit, because it was an extremely well-made movie. I haven't seen it yet, but it was extremely well-made movie, well-written, well-acted, everything. Like, it was a good movie, and it was new. No one's ever watched a Barbie movie that was good like that, right? So that's why people want to see it. Same thing with Oppenheimer. Same thing with Mario. Like, when has there ever been a good Mario movie, right?
Yeah.
And that's why we're seeing rumors or somebody talking about a live action Zelda movie that's coming out at some point in the next couple of years. So people want news stories, and I hope that Wish is a new enough story for Disney, and I hope they're getting that across. It's a brand new character, brand new music. It's not Frozen 3, Toy Story 5. It's not like some random story about people exploring creatures in, whatever. It's not Lightyear where we're reliving. It's the story of how Buzz became Buzz type of thing. Like, we don't need prequels and sequels and beforehand. And I think hopefully people appreciate it. And I think the animation style is kind of reminiscent of 90s animation a little bit. So I'm
a little bit, yeah.
Kind of watching that. And that's my ramble on about movies. I'm looking forward to it. And I think people are going to see movies more. I hear more and more people talk about going to the movies now than I did a year ago. So maybe that trend is reversing a little bit. Okay. So,
well, if it doesn't do well, there might be our savior on the horizon, as Disney did put out some cryptic little blurbs which had Figment.
Good way to finish the show. Yes.
Going around to some of the different buildings of Disney's. One was for the movie studios. Figment showed up there, and then he went over to the Imagination building and stuff like that. So there was the report that I guess Seth Rogen was working on a Figment-based movie. So perhaps this is the foretelling that they are going to announce that the Figment movie is coming. So obviously that will be surefire $1 billion.
Do we want a Figment movie? Are people demanding a Figment movie?
I don't think I don't know if they're demanding it. I think obviously Figment has his fans, and it's great that he's around more. But kind of like what you said with Barbie, if somebody has a passion about it and has a really strong story that they want to tell about Figment, and if that's Seth Rogen, great. If it's
Awesome. Yeah, absolutely.
yeah, and I want to see that movie. If it's hey, he sold a bunch of popcorn buckets, let's get a bunch of monkeys in a room typing up a script to get something on, then I have no interest. But if it's something that somebody's got a bunch of passion for and has a specific story they want to tell, I think that could be great. And then, like I said, he was going into the Imagineering building too, so hopefully that means he's also trying to get them to redo his ride.
So
At the
there's
park,
a couple
but I guess
things
we'll
here. Yeah, that Disney has to be very careful. I didn't know if we were going to talk about this or not, but I had a whole thing ready for this. So to me, this is like analogous. No, that's not even a word. This is comparable to Ahsoka and all the other Filoni-verse Star Wars stuff. A lot of the Ahsoka stuff is relying on people's nostalgia and excitement to carry through the movie. Filoni's a terrible writer, and he's not very good at directing. It's a lot of it's very, very good fan fiction with an incredibly high budget, in my opinion. The storytelling's not tight and strong in a lot of his shows. It's relying on being like, there's Ahsoka, she's doing that thing, that's awesome. And it's like, okay, this is a really great scene. This is a really great scene. The connecting fibers of that are not very good. And you might disagree. We don't have to talk about it though. But with Figment, you're like the only people that know who Figment is even in the broader Disney audiences. He's got a ride that really stinks. He sells a lot of popcorn buckets, I guess. I saw that on Twitter. But other than that, I don't know Figment. Like, Figment's not prevalent anywhere, really. But there's some passionate Figment fans that love old school Epcot and have that. The pitfalls that they can hit are if they rely too much on nostalgia to carry the movie. Like, here is Figment on the big screen. You're like, this is enough for me to make a movie out. Like, if it's just a reason to put Figment in a movie and like you said, the writing around it doesn't carry it as a character, it's going to be like another poorly rated Star Wars movie or show where it's like, we're relying on you growing up with Clone Wars and Rebels and loving Ahsoka as a character just to carry this show that's now live action. Right. I hope, and Seth Rogen, very good writer. He's extremely successful in a lot of the stuff that he creates. If he has a good vision for it, that's going to make it fun. I mean, I trust him. I think that's going to be good because I don't think he's just going to ride the nostalgia train for like a dinosaur.
Yeah, I don't think he needs the paycheck or something like that. That there's got to be a reason he put his name out there for this. So
okay,
I'm optimistic.
Well, here's my question for you. What kind of movie can Figment be in that's interesting? Like, what would be I'm not asking for a plot, but what's the scenario that he's making a movie? Is it like Figment in Figment Land and he's just with other Figments? Is it like a story about
it's got to be
with an imagination type of thing?
I think it could be something like that if they go the kind of the family movie route. I could see them trying to do almost something like the Barbie movie where it's like Figment is in Figment Land, but then he comes to like the real world and has to like change people's hearts and stuff. Something like that. Yeah. And kind of, the whole fish out of water type thing for a little bit, but then he changes the hearts of everybody he touches and stuff.
If the movie is like Figment gets brought in and he's like walking down Times Square in New York City, I'm just like I'm walking out of the theater at that point. I'm like, they did it with like the Smurfs and Lyle the Crocodile and was it the Chipmunks? Like
probably
so many movies where like Times Square, New York. Like, let's just have a good feel good story. Now the kicker would be if it was a scary movie. Now that would be interesting, but they'll never do that. Is this a Halloween movie? No, they would never do that. They would never do that at all.
No, so it'll be interesting to see where they go. Hopefully it's not just like a kiddie movie that it's, kind of made for everyone. And hopefully it, obviously it has to have the Dreamfinder and stuff in there. And, I don't know, maybe it's more of like a quest movie or where people get pulled into their world, almost like a Jumanji type thing, or I don't know. I guess we'll see.
That. Figment can't just be a corny character that you get annoyed at. Right?
No,
like,
for sure.
You can't. That's very close. Like, his character in the ride is almost annoying the way it's portrayed now. He just pops up and he says says stuff, and that's it. Like, he has to have a character. He has to have not just some. He cannot be cartoonish. Let's put it that way. It's got to be real. I think for it to be successful. All right, that was longer than I thought about talking about Figment. So, hey, if the Imagination Pavilion actually gets upgraded to something rather than a 1980s like Photoshop booth that's sitting there,
Yeah.
I'll be a happy man. So I'm
But
all
I'm
for
also
this.
trying to set my expectations low. So at this end, my assumption is that this is all about designing the new strap for the 3rd edition of the Figment Popcorn Bucket, and that's going to be the big
Yes.
announcement. And so if it's anything more than that, I will be pleasantly
Yes.
surprised.
Excellent. Well, no, I think you're doing it right. So you're not getting your hopes up quite a bit. And we had this whole show without us complaining about the doing anything with the Q4 earning results or anything else like that. We didn't
Yeah,
talk
I
about
feel
it.
like that's
It's kind
been covered by now. So
yeah, that's fine.
if you cared, you probably have looked it up before now.
No, I mean, just the only other comment would be the we're spending more money towards the end rather than the beginning.
Yeah, which is I think what we thought. Like, I mean, clearly they're not doing anything in the next couple of years.
So not that we have anything to talk about it because they've not announced anything anyway.
Yep,
so,
exactly.
Maybe in a year we'll talk about it. All right, we're about to hit the 1 hour mark. This is perfect time to say goodbye, good night, have a great week. Phil, I didn't forget.
Just
anything.
our next week, DBC engagement for next week
yes.
is countdown traditions that you have or that your family does prior to a trip. So how do you get kind of excited and ready for that upcoming trip?
I'm struggling with this one. We normally have a countdown calendar, and we don't have one this time, and it's bugging me out. So, but I still have time to make it in. Like my 30-day mark is in 3 days, so I can have a 30-day countdown. So maybe next week I'll say yes, we have a countdown.
Okay.
So we'll see. Thank you for listening and watching, everybody. We really appreciate it. Make sure you hop on social media at the DBC Pod anywhere. Find the link to Discord and any of their YouTube videos or on Twitter somewhere, and join the conversation. But until then, have a good one, everybody.
Take care, everyone.